to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Hello and welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. Tonight you are invited on a gentle journey along the crystalline shores of Ilulissat in Greenland, where serene, starlit icebergs shimmer against an endless sky. As you settle in and find your most comfortable position, feel the soft weight of the blankets around you and allow each breath to flow in slowly, then out with ease. In this moment, there is nothing you need to accomplish beyond resting. The day's worries can wait, and every thought can become lighter, floating softly like snowflakes in a calm Arctic breeze. Let your eyes rest or gently close if that feels right. Here in the soothing quiet, imagine the glimmer of faraway stars reflecting on rippling water. Notice how your body grows heavier as tension melts from your shoulders, traveling down your arms, leaving only warmth and calm. With each deep, unhurried inhale, you invite tranquility in. And with each long, fulfilling exhale, you release any strain that might remain. The mind can drift open and free, like a gentle wave caressing a smooth, icy shore. Before we embark, catch a glimpse of the journey ahead, an unhurried exploration of Greenland's shimmering coastline, where massive icebergs stand like ancient guardians beneath the sky, brilliant with stars. You will discover a peaceful landscape of gentle lights and hushed echoes, where each step across the snowy ground feels as soft as a whispered lullaby. Breathe in, sensing a cool, crisp air that quietly stirs your imagination. And breathe out, letting the day's pace recede into a distant memory. Allow yourself the freedom to slip deeper into stillness, wrapped in the delicate hush of midnight. In this space, your senses are safe, your thoughts unburdened, and your spirit is ready to drift. Now, as the narrative unfolds, let yourself be carried like a cloud, floating into the embrace of a dream. Come now, let us begin. In the quiet town of Ilulissat, a solitary traveler arrived under the soft glow of the northern twilight. The figure carried only a small bag and a heart open to the wonder of this icy realm. Snow fell gently, dusting rooftops and pathways with a fine, sparkling layer that caught the moonlight. All around, a hushed reverence filled the air, as though nature itself was whispering ancient stories of glaciers and stars. Every breath of the traveler mingled with a cold breeze, each vaporous cloud dissolving into the endless night. By day, Ilulissat's harbor bustled with the comings and goings of fishing boats, but under the midnight sky it seemed suspended in a near luminescent stillness. Soft light spilled from the windows of cozy houses, forming tiny beacons along the shoreline. Far away, enormous icebergs sat adrift, their jagged forms gently bobbing in the water, each one reflecting moonbeams and faint starlight in a pale, ghostly glow. The ocean lapped with a slow, rhythmic cadence as if singing a lullaby only the peaceful dreamers could hear. Stepping carefully along a small path, the traveler moved past quiet cottages where only the dim flicker of a lantern illuminated frosted window panes. Each step crunched against snow, soft yet distinct, like a muted heartbeat echoing in the silence. Above, the sky shimmered with traces of auroras dancing faintly on the horizon. Occasionally, a subtle gust of wind would carry the distant call of a seabird or the gentle crackle of shifting ice. In this nocturnal hush, time seemed to stretch and slow, as if it were drifting into the domain of dreams. As the traveler continued along the shoreline, they could see the broad expanse of water opening up beyond the small harbor. The icebergs, immense and ancient, stood like silent monuments to an age before memory. Some were smooth and gracefully curved, others towered with spires and arches carved by centuries of wind and sea. Their surfaces glistened under the faint glow of the stars, revealing subtle shades of blue and white that shifted with every movement of the water beneath them. There was a calmness in the air that seemed to flow from the ice itself, a reminder of the patient power that shaped these shores. The traveler paused for a moment, gazing at the largest iceberg in view. A faint crackling sound resonated from its depths, as if it carried echoes of distant storms and swirling currents. Above it, constellations sparkled in patterns beyond human naming. Each breath brought the traveler closer to a sensation of weightless serenity, gently cradled by the Arctic landscape's timeless grace. In the distance, a lantern's glow marked the entrance to a small cottage by the water's edge. Drawn by its warmth, the traveler approached, noticing how the stillness made every subtle sound gently magnified. The soft rasp of boots against fresh snow, the light hiss of wind kissing fur-lined sleeves, the gentle beat of a contemplative heart. Inside the cottage, an elder of the village sat by a single window, quietly reading in the glow of a simple lamp. The traveler, though a stranger, felt an immediate sense of welcome. Upon entering, the traveler was greeted with a simple nod and a kind, knowing smile. The cottage was modest, walls adorned with paintings of whales and icebergs, treasures from the surrounding seas. A woven rug, rich in soft blues and grays, covered the wooden floor, muffling footsteps into a gentle hush. Heat radiated from a small stove where a kettle of herbal tea quietly steamed, filling the air with the scent of Arctic thyme. This was a place of rest, of hushed voices and comforting traditions that spanned lifetimes. The elder spoke in a soft, measured tone, sharing stories of the majestic ice fjord where towering icebergs drifted toward the open sea. Each iceberg, they explained, carried within it centuries of snowfall compacted into ice, each layer holding secrets of Earth's ancient past. The traveler listened with reverence, soothed by the cadence of the elder's voice that rose and fell like the distant ocean tide. Outside, a gentle wind continued its lullaby, brushing across the cottage walls, with a reassuring sigh. After some time, the traveler thanked the elder and stepped back into the starlit night. Something in that brief encounter felt illuminating, as though the warmth of kindness had seeped into the traveler's very core. Ahead, the path continued along the outskirts of town, leading toward the edge of the vast ice fjord. With a final glance at the glowing windows of the cottage, the traveler ventured deeper into the quiet realm where land and sea embraced. The wind, though cold, felt softer now, wrapping around them like a gentle scarf. Beyond the town, only the faintest hints of light emerged from the distant stars and the pale reflections of moonlight. Snow-covered rocks jutted up along the shoreline, forming natural seats where one could pause to admire the shimmering water. The traveler stopped for a moment, letting the hush of the night sink in. A new sound emerged across the fjord, a faint popping and cracking as ice shifted, carrying echoes across the water. Overhead, the auroras began to ripple, their greens and purples blending in mesmerizing waves across the sky. It was as if the heavens themselves were offering a gentle performance, silent ribbons dancing in slow motion. The traveler tilted their head back, mesmerized by the cosmic ballet. In that moment, the vastness of the universe felt comforting. Every distant star, a beacon of quiet companionship. The shore at Ilulissat had transformed into a place where only the present moment existed, gently erasing thoughts of tomorrow or fragments of yesterday. All that remained was the soothing hush of midnight, the soft gleam of ice, and a sky alight with wonder. Slowly, with a measured pace, the traveler continued to walk along the shoreline. The crunch of each footstep in the snow became a kind of rhythmic chant, a slow heartbeat to accompany the drift of the sea. Closer to the water, shards of ice clinked against one another, forming a soft chime under the faint starlight. A gentle tide rolled in, lapping at the smooth rocks and leaving a lace of foam that sparkled like tiny crystals. The traveler felt cradled by these subtle melodies, each one weaving an unspoken lullaby. At times the traveler would pause, crouching low to run a gloved hand across the ice-laden shoreline. The surface felt glassy and cool, as though infused with ancient wisdom. The air held a pristine clarity, and inhaling it felt like a pure blessing, cool yet invigorating, as if filling the lungs with the essence of untouched winter. Exhaling, the traveler felt any remnants of tension slip away, carried off by the quiet breeze. Each moment invited a deeper sense of stillness, as though nature itself was gently guiding the traveler toward rest. Eventually, the path opened onto a wide, gently sloping ledge of rock that protruded over the water. From there, the view of the ice fjord was unobstructed. Dozens of icebergs, each uniquely sculpted by time, drifted in the moonlit waters. Their reflections shimmered on the surface, doubling their luminescent presence in the stillness. The stars above, mirrored below, formed a tapestry of light and shadow that seemed to fuse sky and sea into one vast, celestial panorama. The traveler stood, breath deep and slow, absorbing the immense quiet. As though in a trance, the traveler lowered themselves onto a smooth, flat rock at the edge of this natural terrace. The silence settled with a gentle weight, wrapping around the traveler's senses like a soft woolen blanket. Far off, the faint hum of the shifting ice carried across the water. Each slow blink of the traveler's eyes brought a wash of serenity, a sensation of release from the day's concerns. In this moment, it was enough to simply be, to feel the crispness of the air, the beauty of the ice, and the lull of the Arctic night. In time, the traveler noticed a small cove further along the shoreline where a cluster of icebergs hugged the rocks in a radiant circle. Drawn by curiosity and a growing sense of awe, they rose and made their way along the water's edge, carefully stepping over pebbles and patches of snow. As the traveler neared this hidden enclave, the distant sounds of crackling ice grew more pronounced, resonating in low echoes that shivered across the surface of the water. Within the cove, the icebergs glowed with an almost ethereal light, reflecting the faint green tint of the northern lights, which still flickered across the sky. Some towers of ice stood tall and majestic, crowned with sculpted pinnacles like the spires of a frozen cathedral. Others were rounded, polished, smooth by the gentle friction of waves, their translucence revealing shifting shades of aqua within. It was a secret concert of shapes and hues, a place of quiet revelation in the heart of night's embrace. The traveler found a comfortable rock at the cove's edge and settled there, knees drawn slightly up, arms wrapped around them. The stillness was profound, yet filled with a hidden vibrancy, the whisper of a breeze across water, the distant bark of a husky from a far-off settlement, the deep groan of ancient ice adjusting to the gentle sway of the tide. Overhead, stars winked in silent approval, as if acknowledging another soul who had come to heed their shimmering stories. In that tranquil solitude, the traveler's thoughts drifted to simpler times and distant places, to the hush of a snowy morning or the comforting crackle of a fireplace back home. The horizon glowed faintly with the lingering essence of twilight, reminding them that morning would eventually come. Yet here, time surrendered its usual urgency. The traveler's eyelids grew heavier with each passing moment, lulled by nature's gentle symphony. A sense of timelessness took hold, urging the traveler to slip deeper into the peaceful current of this Arctic night. Softly, the tide shifted, its gentle wavelets creating faint ripples that lapped at the frosty stones. The smell of salt mingled with the crisp, pure air. Everything felt harmoniously aligned. The hush of the distant village, the watchful presence of the icebergs, the slow, deliberate dance of auroras overhead. The traveler's breath, calm and measured, merged with the pulse of the night. Each inhale drew in the profound tranquility of this place. and each exhale released any lingering anxieties into the open sky. Drawn deeper into this serene world, the traveler allowed their gaze to settle on the largest iceberg in the cove, a grand structure of glittering ice that towered silently, its surface a tapestry of ridges and valleys. Moonlight bathed it in a silvery glow, while subtle pulses of color from the aurora played across its face, as if painting ephemeral visions on a silent canvas. The iceberg seemed alive with ancient wisdom, as though it carried stories of millennia past, waiting for a patient ear to listen. The traveler remained still, lulled by the slow, comforting rhythm of the environment. A gentle drowsiness began to weave through their limbs, each muscle relaxing in the cool hush of night. Thoughts became soft and dreamlike, drifting in and out of focus. The cold no longer bit harshly but felt soothing, like a subtle reminder of nature's purifying force. Breath by breath, the boundary between the traveler and the Arctic landscape faded into a shared silence, a mutual resonance of calm. High above, a shooting star pierced the sky, its brief, sparkling trail disappearing into the darkness. The traveler blinked in wonder, a smile touching their lips. There was a sense of being cradled by the vastness of the cosmos, as though each star was a distant friend. Beneath this glowing canopy, the traveler's thoughts turned to gratitude for the gift of this quiet hour, for the gentle hush that allowed the heart to soften, and for the realization that within this secluded pocket of the world, peace was not just an idea, but a tangible presence. Time felt elastic, stretching and folding into itself, each moment a tender breath of eternity. The traveler's eyes flickered with the heavy draw of fatigue, yet it was the pleasant weariness that follows a day filled with gentle explorations. For a while, the traveler simply sat, listening to the soft lullabies of water against ice, heartbeats syncing with the steady pulse of nature. There was no thought of destination or schedule, only the restful hush that came from surrendering fully to the night. Eventually, a faint glimmer of dawn began to hint at the edge of the sky. The auroras had faded, leaving only the soft glow of starlight. The icebergs, still silent and proud, gently drifted in the shallow waters, their reflections rippling in the gentle tide. The traveler rose, stretching slowly to coax warmth back into limbs, and decided to walk once more, following a narrow path along the coast where snowdrifts gleamed faintly in the growing twilight. Each step carried an echo of calm, as though the earth itself hummed with a peaceful tune. Farther along this path stood a small cluster of traditional Greenlandic homes, painted in hues of deep red and bright blue. Their colors, even muted by night, provided a sense of warmth against the stark white of the snow. Thin tendrils of smoke curled from chimneys into the still air, vanishing into the faint glow of the coming dawn. The traveler imagined families inside peacefully asleep, cradled by the same hush that enveloped the landscape, finding rest in the quiet harbor of the night. A gentle slope led upward, revealing a panoramic view of the inlet. From this vantage, the traveler could see a tapestry of water, ice, and sky expanding in all directions. The darkness gradually receded, unveiling a delicate palette of dusky purples and pale blues across the horizon. The largest icebergs glowed with a subtle luminescence, as if lit from within by the memory of moonlight. Even in this approaching dawn, the world remained hushed, not yet stirred by the bustle of a new day. Pausing to take in the view, the traveler felt their lungs expand with the cool morning air. A profound sense of calm settled over them, a comforting knowledge that, in this remote corner of the earth, there was space enough for quiet reflection and gentle wonder. The traveler's thoughts drifted to the elders' words about the hidden histories locked within the ice. Each floating berg was a silent archivist, preserving stories of climate and time. Beneath its dazzling exterior lay layers of snow pressed into ice, each representing a chapter in Earth's tapestry. Inspired by this, the traveler envisioned the entire Arctic as a repository of wisdom, patiently waiting for those willing to listen. Every breath, every ripple carried subtle messages of renewal and continuity. The traveler found comfort in the thought that in a world often rushed and restless, places like Ilulissat still existed, where the hush of midnight could stretch on, weaving lullabies that soothed the spirit. Here, one could come to rest and remember a slower, more gentle way of being. As the traveler continued, they discovered a narrow trail meandering between rocky outcroppings and small, frozen streams. Occasional footprints marked the path. Other quiet wanderers who had ventured here before, perhaps guided by curiosity or a desire for peace. The traveler felt connected to these unseen souls, bound by the shared experience of treading lightly through the Arctic night. The crunch of snow underfoot was a gentle percussion, each step inviting deeper stillness. In time, the path dipped back down toward the water, curving around a bend that opened onto a secluded beach of smooth stones. Thin sheets of ice edged the shore while tiny waves lapped softly, creating a subdued, crystalline sound. Driftwood, bleached white by the cold, lay scattered like delicate sculptures. The traveler drew near the water's edge, pausing to watch the slow dance of the tide. The dawn light grew stronger, casting gentle silhouettes, distant icebergs on the horizon, each one a silent witness to the night's whispered secrets. The traveler crouched, letting fingertips trail through the chilled water. Despite its icy temperature, there was a strangely comforting quality, as though the sea itself offered a quiet welcome. Each ripple formed concentric circles that shimmered momentarily before blending back into the whole. The traveler felt a calm acceptance there, an understanding that everything flowed, changed, and returned, a cycle as natural as the tides themselves. Snow continued to drift down in delicate flakes, adding a soft hush to the ambience, as though the sky were blessing the earth with a gentle lullaby. Soft rays of early sunlight began to peek over the horizon, casting pale ribbons of pink and gold across the sky. The icebergs in the distance caught these first gleams, their surfaces glowing with a renewed majesty. For the traveler, the transition from night to dawn felt seamless, a gentle passing from one dreamlike state into another. A faint sense of wonder lingered in the air, a reminder that in these northern latitudes, day and night often merge in a silent embrace, blurring the line between waking and dreaming. A flock of seabirds took flight, their dark shapes gliding gracefully against the pastel sky. Their distant calls carried softly across the still water, intermingling with the rhythmic pulse of the ocean. The traveler watched them soar, feeling a quiet kinship with their freedom. Though the chill of dawn brushed against the traveler's cheeks, an inner warmth radiated from the core, a gentle resonance of peace found in the heart of the Arctic. In that moment, it seemed the entire world drew a long, slow breath before exhaling into the new day. Yet the traveler felt no rush to leave this place. Instead, they walked along the shoreline a bit further, seeking a final moment of reflection beside the water. In a small inlet, sheltered from the breeze, a mirror-like pool had formed, reflecting both the sky and the traveler's own silhouette in its crystalline surface. Kneeling by the pool, the traveler gazed into the quiet reflection, noting the soft lines of their face, the gentle curve of the horizon behind them. There was a sense of gratitude in seeing oneself so simply placed amid nature's unfolding beauty. Around this time, the low clouds drifted, revealing a sun just beginning to rise above the horizon. Its light cut through the cool air in delicate beams, illuminating the icy landscape with subtle warmth. Glints of orange and gold scattered across the surface of the water, offering a fresh palette of color. The traveler felt the faint promise of a new day, a reassuring presence that life continues gently and steadily beneath the overarching quiet of this northern realm. One could find rest here and also find renewal. With dawn's arrival, a gentle stir began in the village behind the traveler. Some windows flickered to life, and faint voices carried on the breeze as families rose for the day. Far out on the water, small fishing vessels prepared to set sail, their silhouettes forming graceful lines against the still pale sky. The traveler stood, taking in this subtle shift in energy, yet still sensing an undercurrent of calm. Even in daily routines, the slow pace of the Arctic overshadowed all urgency, allowing each moment to expand into quiet reflection. The traveler began the walk back toward Ilulissat, following the coastline path. Each step felt lighter now, buoyed by the healing hush that had permeated the night's journey. The shifting hues of dawn cast a comforting glow on the snow, turning it from silver to pastel pink. A sense of contentment pulsed within the traveler's chest, like the gentle strum of a soft lullaby that continued to resonate. The silhouettes of icebergs still drifted in the background, silent witnesses to the unbroken cycle of day following night. Reaching the outskirts of town, the traveler paused once more, turning to gaze out over the icy expanse. The starlit hush had dissolved into a pastel morning hush, but the tranquility remained. In the far distance, gulls circled above the water, their voices a gentle counterpoint to the hush of dawn. The traveler inhaled deeply, savoring the crispness of the air, a subtle tingle of cold that awakened the senses without disturbing the comforting lull within. The day was beginning, but the memory of the night's soft serenity lingered in every breath. Inside the traveler, there was a quiet promise to remember this place, not just as a location on the map, but as a state of peaceful wonder. The icebergs, the stars, the drifting auroras, all of it would remain like a dream gently etched into the heart. As the traveler returned to the small cluster of cottages, they felt the warm welcome of shelter calling them, a place to rest if needed, to sip something warm, and maybe to slip back into a half sleep, lulled by the recollections of the night. As the morning light spread across the crystalline shores, the traveler found a quiet room within one of the cozy inns that dotted the town. Thick curtains dimmed the early brightness, creating a peaceful shaded space. Removing boots and heavy layers, the traveler settled onto a soft bed, letting the body release into the welcoming warmth. Memories of shimmering icebergs and starlit skies floated gently behind closed eyelids, weaving threads of comfort that invited deeper rest. Outside, the world began its subtle chorus of activity, but within this refuge, calm prevailed. It was a time to drift, a moment to surrender to the lingering hush left by the night's soothing spells. Each breath came slowly, chest rising and falling in a tranquil rhythm. The traveler's mind, lulled by the soft recollections of ice-laden shores and silent cosmic lights, sank toward a velvety darkness, light and unburdened. The presence of deep silence wrapped itself around every limb, inviting a sleep that felt as pure as fresh snowfall. Even as dreams beckoned, the resonance of Greenland's timeless wonders remained close. There, in the domain between wakefulness and slumber, gentle visions of drifting icebergs swirled in quiet currents, reflecting shimmering stars overhead. A tranquil ocean tide whispered lullabies against the frosty stones, each note assuring that rest was well deserved and that the calm of the Arctic night could be carried within. Breaths grew steadier, eyes closed, and the body eased into a soft stillness, releasing the final hold of consciousness. In that gently dim room, in that moment of surrender, the traveler found the profound comfort of a land shaped by ice and hushed starlight. A final exhale came like a soft sigh, carrying the remains of any tension away into the silent morning air. And so, Lulled by echoes of shimmering shores and the distant glow of polar skies, the traveler slipped seamlessly into a deep, nurturing sleep. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well, and may the hush of Greenland's crystalline shores accompany every soothing breath.